Hi folks, welcome back to the Cabin Fly Shop. Chris and I are here today doing some more videos, of course. You're watching it, right? We're looking at spring of 2021 right now, and that's coming on us pretty quick. This is middle of January. And so it's video time for us and back to work, so to speak. Today, I'm going to talk about the importance of egg patterns and how important they are is, kind of unbelievable. Every fish that I'm aware of eats eggs. So trout, steelhead, believe it or not, even salmon, when they come in the fall, will eat roe or eggs, as well as a host of other fish. You name it, walleye, suckers, bass, they all eat eggs. So in the context that we want to approach this is we're going to tie an egg fly that you can use primarily for spring steelhead and trout. Water temperatures, are typically pretty cold, so we are either suspending this up off the bottom using a float or a big indicator with a floating fly line, or we're bumping the bottom with a drift rig with split shot and running line. Different species, of course, has different sized eggs. Typically, the egg flies that we tie are a bit oversized. The average steelhead egg, probably in the 3 to 4 millimeter range. These are much bigger than that. This is probably a 5 or 6 millimeter that we're looking at right here on this yarn egg fly. But I know lots of folks use different sizes for different water conditions. Heavier water, tainted water, typically folks will use a larger egg. I've seen these tied up to probably as big as 10 or 12 millimeters in some really nasty water, and they work. So size matters, but I would say this: the clearer the water, the closer you're going to want to mimic the size egg that's in the system at the time. So, brown trout spawn in the fall, salmon spawn in the fall, two radically different size eggs. Brown trout are very small, salmon are in that 5 or 6 millimeter size, steelhead in that 3 to 4 millimeter size, and then you've got a plethora of other fish like suckers and sucker roe. It's typically very tiny BBs in a kind of a string. We do a lump tie or loop tie on the hook shank to imitate those. But that's for another program. We're going to tie the single egg. So there are two materials that we use frequently. One is a material called glow bug yarn. The glow bug yarn has some sparkle and sheen to it. I like it a lot. We will sometimes mix a smaller diameter to give the fly what is referred to as an eye, which is the nucleus of the egg, and we do that by a contrasting color. The other material that we're going to use is called McFly foam. They look pretty similar. This is yarn, this is foam. The difference is you can tie a lot smaller egg with the McFly foam than you can with the glow bug yarn. Because of the foam, it collapses and you can trim it a lot smaller. I'm going to demonstrate that with two flies, one glow bug and one McFly foam, and I'll cut them different sizes so that you can see how they trim down. So this is a simple pattern. Again, pick your poison on a single egg hook, whichever brand you like. I like ring eyes. Lots of people like the curved hook because they're a little stronger with a down eye. Some people like an up eye. I don't imagine it makes a lot of difference. I'm using the 50 denier GSP thread. I'm going to dress the hook. Dressing, of course, means laying a base layer down, and we're going to stop in the forward half of the hook. And we're going to position our thread kind of in the middle of that pad we just built. There's demonstrations on how to tie a egg fly all over the place, most of which require trim, 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 trim. This technique does not. This is a pretty simple technique. Piece of glow bug yarn. We're going to set it right on top of the hook. We're going to go over it twice, and we're just going to let it sit there. I'm going to use a contrasting color here. This is a light roe, and then I'm using a color called Steelhead orange as the contrast. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull straight down on this, and that's going to rotate to the bottom of the hook just like that. I'm going to lay this right on the top of the shank where that one just left. Go around it twice. I'm going to lift the cap of that top, and I'm going to bring my thread up in front just like that. And I'm going to whip finish. And we're done with this fly with the exception of the trim. And when I say trim, it's as simple as this. This is the important part. You now have yarn on the top and on the bottom of the fly. What we're doing is we want to bring that yarn straight up, and this cut is going to be straight. There's one. There's two. We're going to give it one fluff, and we have a perfectly round egg. Every time. No trimming, no fussing, it's done. The closer you trim to the hook, the smaller the egg is. And it's as simple as that. So that's about a 6 or 7 millimeter size. Let's go to the McFly foam now, and I'll show you a smaller fly or a smaller egg. And I prefer the McFly foam, like I said earlier, to the glow bug for smaller eggs. Again, we're going to lay down a base layer. We're going to do it exactly like we did the last one. McFly foam on the top, just like that. 1, 2. Let it sit there. We're going to use a red for the contrast here on this Steelhead orange egg. We're going to rotate that to the bottom. And this goes, again, same spot, right on top, around it twice. Lift, come up in front. McFly foam stays together a little better than the glow bug, but it doesn't have the sheen that the glow bug has. I don't know whether it makes any difference for fish or not, but, you know. Okay, same deal. Separate. I'm going to show you how small now we can make, well, I'm not going to go super small, but a lot smaller. Just to give you an idea. Now, an egg this size I would tie on a hook much smaller than that. But look at the difference between the two. They're both perfectly round, but this is what can be achieved with different materials, exactly the same technique. So McFly foam versus glow bug, pick your poison, do a little practice. Should be able to tie, when you get up to speed, you should be able to tie, 50 or 60 of these an hour easily. It's pre-cut your materials, have a pile of hooks in front of you, and you're good to go.